Hey guys, this looks like a fun one. It's 25 equals this power tower. This is day 4 of the math week of internet math challenges that we're going to be doing. And if you want to try it on your own, pause it right now because I'm going to solve it in 3, 2, 1. First, since this is a power tower, we need to evaluate from the top down. So on the right-hand side, we need to evaluate the 2 to the negative 1 before we do anything else. Using these notes for negative exponents, a to the negative 1 is equal to 1 over a. That means 2 to the negative 1 is equal to 1 over 2. Using these notes for rational exponents, the denominator of the rational exponent is the index of the radical. So since this is a 2, x to the 1/2 is the same thing as the square root of x. And then next we would evaluate the square root of 12 to the power square root of x. Since this is our variable, this is unknown, I'm not exactly sure what to do next. So from here, I'm going to go about this a different way. Let's give both sides of the equation the same base. Each of these can be expressed with a base of 5. 25 is the same thing as 5 squared. And then using these notes, the 6th root of 5 is the same thing as 5 to the 1/6 power. The denominator of this fraction is the same thing as the index of this radical. And now the left-hand side is basically done, but the right-hand side we can clean up a little bit more. Then using these notes, anytime you have x to the a whole thing to the b, that's the same thing as x to the a times b. So 5 to the 1/6 power whole thing to all of this is going to be 5 to the this times this. And 1/6 times all of this is basically all this divided by 6. So now we have 5 to the power of 2 equals 5 to the power of all this. Since the bases are both 5, this can only be true if the exponents are equal to each other. Or in other words, we can drop the base. So now we have 2 is equal to the square root of 12 to the power of the square root of x over 6. Next, to get rid of the denominator of 6, let's multiply both sides of the equation by 6. On the left-hand side, 6 times 2 is equal to 12. And on the right-hand side, this 6 and this 6 can cancel each other out. So now we have 12 is equal to the square root of 12 to the power of the square root of x. Now we can express each of these with a base of 12. On the left-hand side, it'll be 12 to the power of 1. And then on the right-hand side, using these notes, we can rewrite the square root of 12 as 12 to the 1/2 power. And then using these notes, we can multiply this 1/2 times the square root of x, giving us square root of x divided by 2. So now since each of these have a base of 12, the only way this can be true is if the exponents are equal to each other. Or in other words, we can drop the base. So now we have 1 is equal to the square root of x divided by 2. To get rid of the denominator, we can multiply both sides of the equation by 2. On the left-hand side, 2 times 1 is equal to 2. And on the right-hand side, the 2's are going to cancel each other out, leaving us with the square root of x. And now to get rid of the square root, we can square both sides of the equation. On the left-hand side, 2 squared is equal to 4. And on the right-hand side, the square root and the square are going to cancel each other out. And now we have x is equal to 4. That is the answer to our question. Let's put a box around it. And let's verify that x equals 4 works. So in the place of this x, let's plug in 4. Once again, since this is a power tower, we have to go from the top down. So first we got to do 2 to the negative 1. Anything to the negative 1 exponent just puts it on bottom. So 2 to the negative 1 is equal to 1/2. And then using these notes, anytime you have something to the 1/2 exponent, that's the same thing as the square root of that something. So 4 to the 1/2 exponent is equal to the square root of 4. And then the square root of 4 is equal to 2. So now we're going to focus on the square root of 12 squared. This square root and this square are going to cancel each other out, leaving us with 12. So now we're going to do the 6th root of 5 to the power of 12. Using these notes, we can rewrite the 6th root of 5 as 5 to the 1/6 power. And then using these notes, we can multiply this 1/6 times the 12, and 1/6 times 12 is equal to 2. So on the right-hand side, we have 5 squared, and 5 squared is equal to 25. Since 25 is equal to 25, the solution x equals 4 checks out. For this given internet mathematical challenge, the answer is x equals 4. How exciting. So now we have this one solved. Tomorrow, let's focus on this one right here. We're given that f of x plus y is equal to f of x plus f of y. F of 6 is equal to 9. F of 9 is equal to 16. And it's asking what is f of 24. I don't think this is valid. I don't think this has a unique solution. This is going to be fun to look at tomorrow. How exciting.